In the ancient land of Israel, a land of rolling hills and quiet valleys, lived a young shepherd named David. He was the youngest of 8 brothers, smaller in stature, but with a heart full of courage. While other boys his age were learning the ways of war, David's world was the open fields, his companions the sheep he guided. His days were filled with the simple, yet profound tasks of leading his flock, playing his harp, and singing songs of praise to God. Unseen by the world, David's courage was growing quietly, like a seed planted deep in fertile soil, waiting for its moment to break through. But beyond these peaceful pastures, a storm was gathering. The Philistines, Israel's most feared enemy, were marching for war. Their army was a formidable force, skilled, fierce, and brimming with confidence. And at their head stood a warrior unlike any other, Goliath. He was a giant, towering over 9 feet tall. His armor alone weighed as much as a full-grown man, and his spear was as thick as a tree branch. When he spoke, his voice thundered across the valley, shaking the very ground. Every morning and every evening, Goliath would stride into the valley that separated the 2 armies and issue his challenge. "Choose a man to fight me," he would roar.
"If he defeats me, we will become yours."
"If I defeat him, you, Israel, will serve us." His words, full of scorn and menace, echoed across the hills. But from the ranks of Israel there was only silence.
Soldier, not even the king himself, dared to answer.
Fear had wrapped its cold hands around the heart of the nation. Meanwhile, far from the front lines, David's father, Jesse, called for him. "Take this food to your brothers at the battlefield," he instructed. So David left the familiar calm of Bethlehem's hills and journeyed to the tense, fearful valley of Elah. As he arrived, he heard it for the first time, Goliath's defiant roar. He saw the seasoned soldiers of Israel tremble. Some hid behind their shields, others cast their eyes to the ground, their courage failing them. But David's reaction was different. He watched the giant. He listened to the venom in his threats, and a righteous anger began to burn within him. He turned to the soldiers and asked,
"Why is no one stopping him?"
"Who is this giant that he dares to insult the armies of the living God?" The soldiers looked at this young shepherd, and some laughed. Some even mocked him. His own brother, seeing him there, scolded him.
Go
home, David," he said sharply. "This is a place of war, not a playground for shepherds." But David's heart was not moved by their scorn. It burned with a faith they had long forgotten. He understood a truth that had been lost in their fear. True strength doesn't come from size, or weapons, or heavy armor. It comes from an unshakable faith in God. Word of the young shepherd's bold spirit quickly spread through the camp and reached King Saul. When David was brought into the king's tent, Saul looked at the boy and shook his head with a heavy sigh.
"You are only a boy,"
he said. "Goliath has been a warrior since his youth. You cannot face him."
Two.
David, however, stood firm.
"When a lion came for my sheep..."
He replied, his voice steady and clear. "I chased it. When a bear attacked, I struck it down. The same God who protected me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will protect me from this Philistine now." Saul hesitated, looking into the young shepherd's eyes. He saw something there, not youthful arrogance, but an unwavering conviction. And so, against his better judgment, the king agreed. Saul offered David his own royal armor, gleaming bronze plates, a heavy helmet, and a weighty sword. David tried it on, but he could barely move. The armor was a burden, not a help. He took it off, saying,
"I cannot fight in these. I am not used to them."
"I will go in the way God has prepared me." With that, David walked to a nearby stream. The water flowed calmly. The air was still. He knelt down and carefully, deliberately chose 5 smooth stones. This wasn't an act of doubt in God's power, but a testament to his belief in being prepared. With his simple sling in one hand and the 5 stones in a small pouch, David began to walk toward the battlefield. The Israelite soldiers watched in stunned silence. A shepherd boy, armed with only a sling, walking toward a giant. Goliath saw him coming and let out a booming laugh.
Am I a dog?
"Am I a dog?" he sneered. "That you come at me with sticks and stones?" David didn't falter. He kept walking forward, his steps sure, his gaze fixed. Goliath shouted, "Come here. I will feed your flesh to the birds of the air and the beasts of the field." But David's voice rang out in reply, clear and powerful. "You come to me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied."
Today, put all the you into the land.
And all this assembly will know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear. For the battle belongs to the Lord. The entire battlefield fell silent. With a furious roar, Goliath charged forward, his massive steps shaking the ground, his armor clanging like thunder. The soldiers held their breath, but David did not retreat. Instead, he ran forward to meet the giant. In one fluid motion, he reached into his pouch, pulled out a stone, and placed it in his sling. With a smooth, practiced swing, a motion he had perfected 1,000 times over protecting his sheep, he released the stone. It flew through the air, a small, swift messenger of faith. It struck Goliath squarely in the forehead. The giant stopped dead in his tracks. The battlefield was frozen in a moment of disbelief. Goliath swayed, fell to his knees, and then collapsed face first onto the ground. The giant was defeated. The Philistines stared in horror. The Israelites stared in absolute awe. A boy had conquered a giant. Not with armor, not with a sword, but with faith. The impossible had just become possible. David's story teaches us a timeless truth. Your giant might be fear. It might be a challenge at work, a struggle in your family, or a situation that feels too big, too strong, too overwhelming to face. But remember this: giants fall, not because you are powerful, but because the one with you is all-powerful. When you feel small, when life seems unfair, when the battle ahead looks impossible to win, remember David. Remember the stream, the 5 smooth stones, and the courage to step forward when everyone else was stepping back.
Remember to believe. Warn, you are never too weak. You are never alone.
With faith, even the greatest giant must fall. If this story has touched your heart, please share it with someone who might need a little courage today. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories of faith that inspire and empower. Thank you for watching.